The Boston Red Sox may have just found their next superstar. I'm here to break down the recent play of Trevor Story and Lucas Giolito and how Ceddanne Rafaela is one of the most underrated players in the entirety of the MLB. We'll break down all of that on this episode of Red Sox Digest. But first, before we get to the news and information, please do remember to scroll down and click the subscribe button, as nearly 90% of you guys watching this video are not currently subscribed to the channel. Help us hit our new goal of 3,500 subscribers. We do appreciate the love and support, so thank you guys. But now let's get to it and break down really the spark to this recent success in Boston. Now, I will say we're going to focus on mainly Ceddanne Rafaela, but we quickly have to announce how Trevor Story and Lucas Giolito have really been unsung heroes for this Red Sox organization. Now, it didn't start this way by any means. Lucas Giolito was returning from injury, and we really didn't know what to expect from him this season. But over the last 5 to 6 starts, he has been simply phenomenal. And there's no real way to beat around the bush here. Like, even if you don't like Lucas Giolito, he's been great for this Red Sox organization. And if he can continue this, he is going to be the third or even possibly the second guy in this Red Sox rotation, depending on how Bello and Walker Buehler and the rest of these guys really end up shaping out. Up to this point, overall consistency, it wasn't there in the start of the year. But as of late, again, over the last 5 starts, he's been phenomenal. One of the better pitchers for the Red Sox up to this point. And it's not just him. On the offensive side of things, Trevor Story has been... He looks like Colorado Rockies Trevor Story, if not better. He hasn't been thrown out on the base paths yet. He's 14 of 14 stealing bags. And at the plate offensively, he's hitting for power. He's hitting for average. Fuzzy on Twitter goes out and tweeted this because Trevor Story just continued to demolish baseballs last night. Didn't have the greatest game, did have an offer, but that was a rarity. As over the last 7 days, he's batting over 400. Over the last 30 days, he's batting over 300. He's just smashing baseballs. There are a few blemishes, which we're going to highlight in just a second. But again, Fuzzy on Twitter goes on to say he's hitting .310 with 16 extra base hits and 32 RBIs in his last 33 games. Absolutely destroying the baseball, and it's been a joy to watch for as a Red Sox fan, someone who supports this Red Sox organization, because we are getting way more offensive production from Trevor Story than ever anticipated. Yes, did we hope and anticipate he was going to be a good complementary guy playing a good shortstop position? Yes, without a doubt. That was the bare minimum of the hope. But up to this point, over the last month plus, he's been phenomenal. Now, I hope he pairs it up with another good month of July to pair with the month of June. But if he can just do half of that, we would still be sitting very, very good. And going into the All-Star break, this is exactly the hot streak that we want to see from players like Trevor Story. Not the biggest names, but the complementary guys that can fuel these guys like Jarren Duran and Alex Bregman when he returns, and other big name players for the Red Sox to really get it going coming out of the All-Star break. Now, the blemishes for Trevor Story, outside of just smashing the baseball over the last month, which has been phenomenal. But the blemishes, if you look at the expected WOBA before the season, it is down below league average as well as the batting average. And that is because of his inability to stop chasing pitches out of the strike zone. A conversation that is eerie similar to the guy that could be the superstar in Boston if he continues the way he's been playing over the last 2 months, in Ceddanne Rafaela, is because if you guys remember, now this Baseball Savant page looks a lot different than Trevor Story's, and it looks a lot different than CD's did earlier this season, but he's made adjustments, he's made changes, and he looks otherworldly different now, and all of Red Sox Nation absolutely loves it, and he's adored. But on the national scale, he's getting overlooked, just like Trevor Story, which makes some sense because Story is a little bit older and he could just be going on a one month run where the ball just simply looks bigger than it normally does. And that happens in baseball because it's baseball. But if Trevor Story can spark these guys and Ceddanne can continue this hot streak, look out for Boston. Now, Story's problems, the whiff rate, the chase rate, the K percentage, and the base on ball percentage all go hand in hand and correlate here. They're all in the bottom percentiles of the entirety of the MLB. This is a season's approach here. This is not the last month in particular, as those numbers have increased just ever so slightly because he's making good on the pitches he gets in the strike zone. But for the season, his inability to stop swinging at balls outside the strike zone is really what's holding him back, and holding back him from him being one of the best hitters not only on this team but in the AL as a whole. And that shouldn't be considered an exaggeration when you see numbers like this. This is not, you can't do this and have it be a fluke. Like, this is, he's a damn good baseball player. This is Colorado Rockies Trevor Story. He's not only playing plus side in the defense and being a good shortstop, but also the offensive production that is in a class of very, very few when it comes down to the positional rankings, in the sense of other shortstops putting up those numbers, whether it's over a month stretch or over a few month stretch. Trevor Story has been playing very well, but we just need him to stop expanding the strike zone, something that we saw Ceddanne Rafaela do to a problematic point just a few months ago. But over the last month and a half, this Ceddanne Rafaela could be the next superstar in Boston. And that may seem crazy because Ceddanne is only, 24, 25 years of age. And he's only been in the league for 3 seasons. But with these adjustments and what we have seen as of late, especially over the month of June, as well as in the early stages of July, yes, we are only 8 days, so take it with a grain of salt. But there's no denying that he has made changes in his approach. He's made changes in his swing, and it is working out beautifully. Yes, the base on ball percentages are still way down. The K percentages are right above league average, and the whiff rates are way, way down as well, going hand in hand with the base on ball percentages. I'm not going to argue that. And you can't. It's clear as day. Those are the stats that we're looking at. But if you look at the numbers since the Milwaukee series, and if you look at the numbers really over this tail of the last 4 months in the sense of WRC plus, the numbers are greatly improving for Ceddanne, and it looks like he has turned a page and become this new guy in Boston. Not only being one of the best, if not the best defensive center fielder in the game of baseball, but now adding an offensive threat that is a force to be reckoned with, while hitting in the 9-hole for this Red Sox team as that spark plug. This is the spark to this Red Sox offense as a whole. Now, Tim Haley, I apologize for mispronouncing that on Twitter, goes on to tweet this last night. The Red Sox told Ceddanne Rafaela to pull the ball in the air while in Milwaukee. Since leaving Milwaukee on May 28th, Rafaela's numbers / ranks among center fielders. He's hitting .311 for average, tied for 3rd. His OPP is .344, which is 7th. His slugging is .605, which is 2nd. His WRC plus is .159, which is 2nd. And his F-WAR is 1.8, which is tied for 1st. Ceddanne is not only hitting the baseball well, but overall playing a great brand of baseball because he's such an elite defender. Now his WRC plus by month over the last 4 months. If you look back to April, horrible, 64. That is way, way, way below league average. If you look at May, it's 89. It did increase. The approach is changing just enough, but it's not doing enough. Then we get to June, where he has 137 WRC plus, and that is for the entirety of the month of June, as we are now into the month of July. 8 days. And now through July, through 8 days, he has a 271 WRC plus. Now, this was tweeted before last night's game in Fenway Park against the Colorado Rockies, where Ceddanne went 1 for 4 with a solo shot. Again, hitting for power. And he's taking advantage of the pitches thrown earlier in counts over the heart of the plate, and he's making very good with them. Yes, obviously, if he doesn't make good with them early in counts, it seems like he is still working to the point where he's working at bats, but he's not taking walks, and he's ending up swinging outside of the strike zone. He's not striking out as much, but again, he's not making that hard contact out of the strike zone because, again, the pitches are not good pitches to hit. But if he can just tighten it up just a little bit more and take the walks that he's given, Ceddanne Rafaela is on the brink of being the next superstar, not only in Boston, but across the national stage. Right now, he's not an all-star, even though you could make a good argument of him possibly being a reserve. Also, the national media outside of the all-star conversations, yes, we can use that because we're running into the all-star break right now. The teams were just selected. Reserves were just announced. But right now, Ceddanne on the national stage up to this point in the year has simply been an unsung hero. No one's mentioning his name unless they're discussing the Boston Red Sox, and even at that, he's not one of the focal points. It's Jarren Duran, it's Roman Anthony, it's Marcelo Meyer, it's it's Alex Bregman, even though he hasn't played since May. Give this man some credit. Give him the kudos he deserves. If he starts working on these at-bats, if he starts working with the 22-year-old Roman Anthony and understanding how to take his walks, this kid is going to exponentially accelerate. There is no way around it. If you look at this Baseball Savant page, obviously the sprint speed, tops of the league. That's why his fielding is so damn good. His ability to cover ground, his range is otherworldly, and then his glove, as well as his arm value, is way above league average, as we have watched all season long. And even going back to last season, that was one of the biggest takeaways from Ceddanne and why he couldn't lose a starting position. Not only was he extremely versatile, can play short, second base, anywhere in the outfield, but also he's a damn good defender who's really irreplaceable in the outfield. Yes, there's Jarren Duran, but you only have one Jarren Duran. But when you have Jarren Duran and Ceddanne Rafaela, you have two sections of the outfield, and really more than that because of the ground they can cover, just totally just non-worrisome. Now, right field, Roman Anthony is not quite the athlete in the sense of sprint speed and the ability to cover ground that those guys are. But again, he's still very young. He has the ability and the length to work on that and obtain that speed. But Ceddanne and Jarren Duran are just in different categories when it comes to this. And Ceddanne, if we're being honest, might be a class above Jarren when it comes to the defensive abilities in center field. Again, it just comes down to, just like Trevor Story, if they can cut down on the inability to swing at pitches thrown out of the strike zone, producing a lot of whiffs, we could see these two guys really transform, not only to the points we've seen over the last month and some change, but even past that. And Ceddanne could really, with the age and the overall plus side that we've seen from him, take advantage and make a run for this Red Sox team and become one of the better guys, not only in center field as a defender, but just utility guys as well as offensive threats in the league. Let me know down below what your overall thoughts and opinions are on these three guys, mainly Ceddanne Rafaela, and if you guys have the same faith I do in that he could be the next big name for this Red Sox organization that they went out and they brought up and they drafted him and they brought him through and they allowed him to play as a rookie, and then he slowly developed, and then they realized this guy is the guy. We just have to unlock a few more mechanical issues, and all hell is going to break loose for the rest of the league. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on the next episode of Red Sox Digest.